Hello.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Okay, a little stressful day today. Thanks for the, and I apologize for the time slot.
Okay, no problem. Oh, you're in the car, you're on the way home?
I'm on the way home from the lake. I'm here with my daughter. Rita, you want to say hi?
Okay. Hi. Hello, hi, how are you? How are you? You're so cute. So nice. And how are you? How was the day? How was your Sunday?
Oh, she can't hear you. It was very nice. We went to a lake, and it's nice. The life is returning more and more to normal. We had a pretty. The gallery is always open on Sundays, and we are still doing the time ticketing thing. So it's like one person per 10 square meters, so 20 square meters. I keep on forgetting; it's changing every day. But we had a good amount of visitors at the gallery. And we opened up the viewing room to the public to have more square meter footage and opened up the garden. And it was very nice. Cool. Very nice people, some sales, and it's like Berlin is always a different place when the weather is better. You know, we have very. I mean, you're from Düsseldorf, right?
No, Frankfurt, originally Frankfurt, but I'm living in Shanghai, but now currently in Frankfurt. So, but it's good. So it's much better. Like it's a chance. It's Instagram here in Germany. You do as well with since the pandemic scene. So it's get quite popular.
I followed. I liked it a lot.
Thank you so much, and I like yours too. So,
what's your focus? What's your connection to African art?
It started back in 2016. I'm coming from the design background, so I did a lot of let's say design and art beside my doing my professional as a designer. And then I didn't have much time, so I got into collecting, and I bought like some small, maybe you know them, like Gerd Victor Victoria, small lithographs from a small from a big edition, and then somehow got dragged me into to collecting. So and then I wanted to have a focus about my collection, and I started to dig in. And back in 2016, it already started a little bit. Oh hey, you can this contemporary art scene, African art scene is getting a little bit interesting and very affordable for that time. So and then I somehow started it, and I bought my first piece, and it became bigger and bigger in the end.
So and then you notice how relevant, how helpful it is to focus on like something in collecting, right?
Yes, it's super helpful. Yes. Because there are so many artists around, and there's so many galleries and fairs and everything. It's quite hard to focus on something, you know. So, and even like when you have a focus, you rather say no, because although you would like to buy it, let's say like this, but like the philosophy or the collection philosophy doesn't allow. So it's giving a little bit more a route, you know.
And you had some help with that? Did you have someone like advise you or consult you on?
No. I did everything by myself. So that's like reading, searching on internet, artsy galleries, visiting. That time I was like every year like Freeze and 154, like which could be, let's say at that time I was still living in Germany, which I could enter from here. Through seeing and teaching and learning by myself, that I started this collection. So that's how it went. And how about you? Like, how did you get into art world? Like in general, you was like a long time already in. What was like the sparkling point to work in art? Or to work with art?
I mean, I'm born into the arts. You know, my father's a curator, and my mother was an illustrator and was doing drawing, and so I grew up with art 24/7. But then I think what really drawn me into art was getting to know artists and becoming friends with artists, and then I wanted to become an artist myself for a moment, which I didn't dare to, and then at least. I thought when I can't be an artist, then maybe I can help artists create and realize projects. Mm-hmm. And And then a really big impact for me had my teacher. You know, I had an accident when I was a child and lost my parts of my eyesight, and went to blind school, to a boarding school, and they had a very ambitious art teacher who was teaching us. Setz dich hin, Greta. Setz dich hin. Who said like even blind kids can have an approach to art, and then picked contemporary art because it's so hard to access also for like normal visual people, that he saw some parallels there. And that was very interesting for me then, because then suddenly we were looking at Gerhard Richter, for example, and I knew Gerhard because he was the best man of my parents, and back then when we were still in Cologne, he was married with Isa Genskin. They were the frequent guests at our house and very close friends of my parents. And then suddenly I noticed that all these people I was competing with, above the attention from my parents, were actually of certain relevance also to all our society and to our latest history, and had more relevance than just dominating the professional life of my parents or my father. And so, but then I think it was really the life of artists, the freedom, the spirit, the independence, you know, because I mean, to go and study art or to decide becoming an artist, it's like one of the most bravest things you can do, because you take all these risks, and you have to find yourself, your own practice before you know. It's so uncertain if you will make a living of this, or if you can even achieve something. I mean, living off something is one thing, but be able to achieve something is another thing, which I think is this is what I didn't want to risk. So, and then it was this that I became friends with, like Jeppe Hein, Michaela Meise, Carsten Fock, and Tobias Rehberger, Thomas Zipp, all these Städel School students. And then the good thing was also that my father left Städelschule to become director in Museum Ludwig, and so he was kind of gone. And then I started to have direct relationships with all these students, who then some of them became my artists, and others are still friends today. And then I got immediately into it.
Okay, and this kind of, let's say, like this approach or the interaction with these famous artists, did it somehow taught you and shaped your view on art and your to let's say to decide on these artists for your gallery?
No, I think that the good thing is for a kid, of course, it's not impressive who these artists are. I think I learned a lot from my father's attitude towards artists. Of course, I have an unlimited respect for artists, but at the same time, they're all people as well. You know, like you and me and like everybody else. And I think that there's a big problem in our industry of the idea. I think, especially in Germany, there's this very strange idea of the artist per se. You know, like as not making decisions or not being a business business owner themselves, which they are. They constantly have to make business decisions and are very mündig, or what's that mean? Very independent. People, but I think that Germany likes this idea of a very bourgeois, a very how you call it, bohemian artist.
Okay, great. And like, how was it like then when you were born into this family where you, let's say, like everything, the art was already in? Did you see a lot of great art around as well as home, which got taught you as well, like the
Absolutely, yes. We grew up with like Piero Manzoni. My brother and I, we were playing soccer between a Piero Manzoni 1 kilometer drawing and an Andy Warhol Brillo box. And so we were really like, and our dining table was by Franz West. And it was really, but on the other hand, it was also, usually now a lot of works are not necessarily in best condition because it was really like we lived with all of this, and fragile paperworks were unframed, and like I can't live like this now. But for me also art, of course, I'm making my living with selling art, and so it's more of a commodity. My father is really as uninterested in money as anybody can be. It's really like he never had any, he never saw any commercial. I think actually that's why his both sons became art dealers somehow, a little bit, as of an anti-reaction to this kind of very almost super anti-materialistic approach of his.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Great. And like you have built up this one of the most let's say most amazing and creative gallery, like building it into a church. How this idea came up, and how did you, let's say, started it, the idea, and how it became reality in the end? Because I guess in Germany it seems to be pretty hard to get all the regulations and things like with the governments.
Yeah, the building was on the market for quite some time. It was it's a former brutalist church. I mean, this is really what makes Berlin so spectacular and interesting still after all, because it's only 5 years ago I did it, and the building is in the city center. And I'm not rich by heritage, or it was an overseeable amount. You still can. Now it's getting more and more tougher almost every day, but you could really find amazing opportunities here in Berlin. I mean, look at Christian Boros, who was a kind of an inspiration for me also how to deal with the idea of Berghain. Also, the Techno Club is also a reused old building, and because Berlin has this like extreme history from the First War, Weimar Republic, Second War, GDR. It was a divided city for so long. We have everything twice. We have 2 theaters, 2 museums, and then also 2 city centers. And the church where I run my gallery now, that's in fact the city center. It's a geographical middle point of Berlin, but it's a little bit of nowhere land also, because the 2 centers were one in the west, in Savini-Platz or Zoo, and then the other one maybe where Torstraße is Soho House now, and these were like Alexanderplatz, of course. So these were like the two centers, and we are right in between. And it's Jewish Museum is there, Berlinische Galerie. And I was just lucky. I mean, I was actually, I noticed that I'm kind of gentrifying my own, that we as cultural entrepreneurs here kind of ruined our own neighborhoods by bringing, when I opened my gallery in Berlin Mitte, it was really a different neighborhood then. And then I made it along everybody else, like underground fashion stores, bars, other galleries. We made it a hip area, and then kind of sacrificed from doing this and had to leave. And then at some point I thought I have to leave this. I have to get out of this very toxic circle and have to find some real estate. And then real estate had been raised in price so high already that I said, okay, I need to find some real estate which nobody wants, which is like has no value to anybody, and then I can bring in the value from what we are doing. And then I found the church, actually thanks to Arno Brandenhofer, who I'm starting to work on a new project on now, which we hopefully soon going to announce. And that's kind of a small specialty I made, like next to the gallery, to focus on unusual spaces. And I'm always looking for new opportunities and more unchallengeable buildings. But it was. I went there on a Sunday for service, like a church service. And it was really. I was so struck by the space that I thought, okay, we have to try to get this done.
Für die Pizza ab, glaube ich.
Soll ich die rauslassen?
Nee, alle bleiben im Auto. Ich gehe die Pizza holen.
Danke.
Warte, dann ich will nicht machen.
And how like I would like to know, like, how do you decide on your artists which you take into your program?
That's a difficult question.
Nimm mal deine Tochter, dass sie nicht aussteigt. Pass auf, du musst
Bleib mal hier, Greta.
ich will die Pizza, ja?
Yeah. I mean, that's very different circumstances. So first of all, I want to be able to contribute something. I'm not interested in just, me representing the entire team, which is a big group of experts and more, I don't know, studied people than I am. We want to contribute to the career and want to achieve something for the artists, and that's why it needs to be something where we have the feeling we can either create re-recognition or change the aspect of an artist's work or bring them into a certain field they haven't been recognized for. And then I really try to don't represent like certain schools or multiple of the same kind, and really try to show the best of the disciplines. You know, I think that Katharina Gross is the most relevant abstract painter, and Annette Kelm is the most important photographer in that field she's working in. And of course, no artist is comparable to another. I think that we really try to. And then, of course, I would say there's a certain Berlin, because I love to work with the artists.
Yeah.
We are much better with artists who are here than when they are abroad. But we are just, so we work with a lot of Berlin-based artists like Katharina, Indien Darkset, Alicia Kade, Anselm Reile, Xiao, Shiota, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Okay, I guess for you it's the easiest part. Just go quickly for studio visits and having a check, and especially in Berlin. And do you say focus, or do you see rather a focus on Germany or German artists, although they are somehow internationally, or do you look as well abroad on the international market?
Oh no, we have a lot of very international artists. We just were about to open a Loie Hollowell show, and we show Friedrich Kuhner, that means a German artist living in LA, in June, and we plan for Gallery Weekend, we're going to show Friedrich Kuhner and Sarah Morris and Alexander Kluge, a collaboration between Alexander Kluge, who's a German philosopher, and Sarah Morris, who's a conceptual painter from New York, but British artist. I think these country definitions are, I understand, sometimes it's useful. You know, I mean, you focus on African art, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of these artists don't really want to be,
I know, yeah,
stamped there. But then on the other hand, I think it's understandable. I mean, we saw the same with the Leipzig school somehow. It's like everybody's so different, but some, of course, they are all from the same school. Or
yes,
there are certain. I mean. The figure, for example, right now we have two figurative exhibitions at the gallery. Connie Meyer downstairs with figurative painting, and Ingrid and Darkset upstairs. So somehow, maybe it's these trends come together on, you can categorize them formally or by origin or schools or so.
Yeah. Okay, and especially there are a lot of talks about in the recent years about Berlin becoming a next big art city, which it is somehow. What do you think what makes Berlin different to, let's say, big art hubs like London, New York, and so on?
I mean, right now there's a lot of press about the session of Berlin as an art capital, which I think it's a little bit simplified, because we have various collectors who are moving away from Berlin or thinking about to leave Berlin, and each case is of course very different. There's Haubrock, Olbricht, Stoschek, Flick, and I think I missed one now. And Nee, du bleibst hier, Greta. And each of them have different circumstances. I think the biggest problem in Germany is that we have the Künstlersozialkasse, which is like the social security for artists, which is a great and unique institution which we have and nobody else have, along with all our Kunstvereins and museums in every state. We have, I think Germany has the best infrastructure for exhibiting art and also art schools. There are so many really great and top art schools only in Braunschweig, Hamburg, Frankfurt, Berlin, Munich. And that's not all of them, and they're really good schools with like super active teachers who are part of the art system and so on. But as good as is on one side, as problematic on the other. Mit ihm das machen und den nachher anrufen. But the problem is, so like one example, a successful artist.
Was soll ich denn machen?
Ich weiß nicht, ich glaube, er will irgendwas wissen. Er hat mich angerufen. Ich habe schon bestellt. So a successful artist, when they make money, they leave the social security. I know. And then they go in a private insurance because it's cheaper and it's better service. So they can choose. But I, as a dealer, whatever turnover I make on an artist, if it's a German artist or an artist from abroad, I have to pay 5% to the social security, to the artist security. So if I sell an African artist and I make 100,000 euro for the artist gets 100,000 euro, I have to pay 5,000 to the social security, even though the artist is not insured in Germany, or even the artist is insured in Germany by private insured. Yeah. And then the craziest thing is that the German artists, even if they are insured, they only say what they approximately going to make, and they're not going to get checked, and I get checked non-stop. And I mean, I love Germany because, look at Corona and how everything has been handled. And this schools, the museums, all fantastic, but these are kind of the downsides. And unfortunately, because the art market is such a minor industry here, we don't have a lobby, we don't have a good, auctioneer and dealer union. So nobody listens to these issues because they could just reform the social security system because it's just simply unfair. I'm not against it, but then I'm really not a conspiracy theorist. But whenever I do these interviews with a German television, for example, I did that 3 times now, and they always cut these comments out. Because I complain about the VAT, they give it in, and then there's a big misunderstanding that they think that I'm like yawning and complaining about us. For us it's not so relevant, because I have galleries in Berlin, Tokyo, and London, and we have a certain size that it's fine, but it's not interesting for young people to open galleries because it's just too tough. It's too tough. The rents are too high. It's too tough to make a living. It's too competitive to be attractive enough for artists to, they have to compete with me and with even bigger galleries than mine in Germany. So it's really that's why I'm very worried about the future of our Berlin art scene and global art scene, because if I would do a gallery and would have no kids who go to school here, I would not do it in Berlin. I really would not do it here.
Okay.
Because we have it's not a financial hub, and what's been misunderstood is that we as gallerists, we work for artists. My boss is the artist, and I report to the artist. So we are kind of a service to artists, and that's why I find this discussion here very poor. That it's always that they don't understand that we are. It's one, it's like one union. It's not you can't separate that.
Yeah. Okay, wow, it's super insightful because I didn't even know either that with these 5%. And how do you think
But it's also it's such a boring thing too.
Yes,
it's like all these tax issues. That's also the thing. We have all the same rules in Europe somehow. But in Germany, because it's such a strong bureaucracy, functioning state, there are some rules, for example, Folgerecht, when you trade work, resale work.
Right,
that's really prosecuted here. You have to do it, and it's the same law in the UK and in France, but it's not happening. No one cares. I mean, the auction houses do because it's public, but in the other, I don't think that the British dealers report it.
You report it constantly. Okay. Wow, crazy. And how do you think will now the pandemic scene affect the German gallery scene in general? Let's say in the first beginning just the gallery scene in Germany, and then in the broader atmosphere then as well, internationally. How do you see it?
I think it's very tough for these galleries who are not in bigger cities and who don't have a bigger network of a growing clientele. I mean, we had an opening yesterday and the day before, and we had a lot of clients there, and we did quite good business. But we have our network. We have a kind of established artist with a certain market stability and proven. It's not the first crisis we've gone through.
Yeah.
But if you're in some gallery in Prague, you need art fairs to show your work and meet new clients, and also if you don't have a brand name which brings in clients constantly automatically because people are that's also such an interesting miss-situation. Art is so popular that it should be all of us should sell more art than we effectively doing, and I think that's our own responsibility in the art industry of our intransparent activities and behaviors. That it's so opaque and vague and
yes.
But I think really for the galleries which are not in city centers, it's tough. I mean, but compared, for example, Berlin to London, still our rents are so much lower here than in London.
Yes, and do you have as you said, you have a very established collector base. Are there mainly, let's say, from Berlin and Germany, or is it internationally? How did it?
No, they're from all over the world.
Okay,
and it's also occasional collectors to institutional collectors to public collections like private collectors with public, but also we do a lot of commissions. We consult companies. We consult big building developers also. We work on many fields.
Yes.
I mean, we run the gallery a little bit more like we publish a magazine. We do. We have a sculpture garden. It's a very unusual space. We do things a little bit different, I would say.
Yeah. Yes. I think that's that's the cool and unique thing of your gallery. And we will come later to the questions. So I guess we have time for one or two more questions, and then I can ask the community. What about do you think might this everyone is now changing to online viewing rooms? Is this something for you, and especially attending now the bigger fairs? Will you attend the online viewing rooms, or is it something for you which is not that great, or which you would like to?
Oh no, totally. We do all of this. I mean, we have this. We collaborate with Artland to have a 3D, and it's amazing. We just did a new one of our viewing room, which is a private sales area. Yes. 2 exhibitions right now, which is really interesting to see, and especially our sculpture garden and the gallery in London and Tokyo, of course, which are more usual galleries. We do this, then I do this 10 a.m. series where I meet the artists in their studio and we talk about their recent activities. Then we do artsy, we do art, and we're gonna do this Art Basel viewing room, of course, in June now. And then, I mean, we even have an online shop where we've been really, I mean, that really was saving. We have König Souvenir, which is like a merchandise label where we did the European Union hoodie and the Erwin Wurm cucumber soap. And I was very happy about these. I mean, I really must say, I was so relieved of the turnover stream which came in there, because we were selling, I don't know, 5 figures a month or something, 6 figures.
Wow.
Not really, no, more like 5 figures. And that was good because I mean I never did this to make money, but it was very helpful in the first shutdown times. And then also our editions where we sell prints and multiples. Also, this was more driven by making art more accessible, and I find it because I noticed that, like you just said, with Gerd Richter prints, probably was it right? Yeah.
Yes.
So many people come into art via something more accessible, more transparent, more able to understand, and seeing, okay, I can buy this, I can resell it also, it has a certain value, all these things, and then usually they move away from that. You know, they come in via photography, and I thought we need to. Because we have all these people coming to the gallery, but they can't afford a painting for 50,000 euro. But they want to be part of this and want to buy something, want to support us. And then we give them the chance to either show to the outside that they have a Monica Bonvicini gilt cap or buy a Anselm Reile unique bar to put their whiskey bottle on. And that really was never intended to be generating money, but it was very helpful in the last months. But I think everybody's kind of noticing that we are not as hard, but maybe it will come. At this point, we are, and I have also the feeling from colleagues, we were planning on some bigger books with other galleries, and now they came back and said, okay, no, we are better than we thought. Let's proceed with an investment on publishing this or that book or doing this or that production of a bronze or things like this. So I think overall the art market is in a pretty good shape.
Cool. Okay, great. Before I hand over to the questions of the community, my last question would be, like, what would you recommend to young collectors how to start an art collection? You mentioned already with the edition, and how should they decide? What can you give them some advices? What kind of advices can you give to them?
I don't think that you should limit yourself too early. You know, I think it's smart to narrow down the collection if you really want to build up a meaningful collection, which I don't think is it's not always necessary. It's good enough to live with great art, and never forget, buying art primary means supporting an artist, and also building up an asset. You know, I think that it shouldn't be. I think that it's a big mistake to not. I start to work a lot with startup entrepreneurs here in Berlin now, and the first question is like, what's the exit? How can I sell again? And I know many colleagues who really say like, oh, how can you even ask this? But that comes from our kind of arrogant point inside the art industry, because there are all these unwritten rules of how to do things and don't do things, and everybody inside the art business knows how to sell and what's the options. And but if you want to open up to newcomers, you need to be a bit more open up talking about this. So I think don't accept the galleries to be snobbish and arrogant, and just be brave and ask questions so often until you really have the feeling they are answered in a sufficient way. That would be my advice.
I totally agree on this, especially
all galleries are offering a service, and they might be a bit redundant, but once maybe you push them a bit, I think they're gonna all open up and talk to you. So I think really don't be afraid of the arrogant front desk receptionist.
Yes, I totally agree. I was shocked in the beginning too about this, and because it was like, oh, okay, because you somehow got sorted out, you got pushed into a certain corner. Do you have money? Do you have no money? Are you just interested? Will you buy it? So it seems to be like but after a certain while you get into it, and then you realize, oh, yes, okay.
But I think these are great. I mean, this is
some good stuff without.
But this is something great, I think, which turned out in this pandemic. You know, all the price transparency. I mean, we've been very public about our prices since many years. But I think in the latest, in this pandemic, everybody's like, suddenly you see all the amounts everywhere. And I think that's a great new situation. Because I know from my own buying behavior, I see something and I think like, oh, I like this. I own this artist.
Yes.
But then it doesn't show. Then it doesn't show the price, and I move on. I don't write an email and say like how much is this, and then they reply back to me 2 days later. I lost the interest. It's like I'm in a different mood then.
I totally agree. Yeah. And do you think like it might change as well now? Like it changed already with the online viewings. Do you think like in general it will change the whole market, that everyone will stop pricing now?
I think that we're going to have big changes, but I don't know how they're going to be like. I mean, everybody's wondering and how the art market will be disrupted by...
Yeah.
I mean, it will always have a certain old school aspect, which I love about this. Also that with all these trying to replace... I mean, the show right now we have up, it's a kind of goosebump experience. It's like, it's a memory... you won't forget that, you know, and this is a video show, it's not replacing it. And it all comes together, the physical architecture, the space, your mood at that time, you know, your whole, actually we're arriving. Oh, yeah.
Already? Oh, Bernie.
So here you see these are all these like 50s
some years that I've been there.
social housings, which are totally renovated now. And here we are approaching the church now. And it's really interesting because it's so green.
Wow.
Here you see a Claudia kommt. It's kind of hard to see from here with all that. You see.
So cool.
So I think we have a lot of changes ahead.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Very cool. Okay, we have 15 more minutes. We can still answer some questions from the community.
Okay. Vielen Dank, habe ich gefreut. Wir hören uns. Ne? Bis nächste Woche. Sorry, now I'm back.
Das ist eine Pizza.
Pizza für den Franz.
Ja, einmal Pizza bitte.
Das ist eine Pizza.
Pizza Salami.
Okay, geil.
I can really recommend this pizzeria. It's called Zola.
Tola, okay.
Zola.
Next time I'm there, will we go to the Tola? Great.
Here you see.
Okay.
Here you see Anselm Reile's basis.
Mm-hmm. So cool.
And this is the church tower here.
Yes. Wow.
And yeah, and I live here. You know, I mean, it's like
you live at work. That's pretty cool.
yeah, I live here where the preacherman used to live. So it's really like a community. You keep the Schlüssel. So, and you see, this is like I hope that the steel prices are going down and that I can build this into a guest apartment. Yeah. And oben, geh einfach hoch. Der Franz zeigt sich. Bringst du ihm die Pizza mit mir nachher? Yeah, I can actually show you.
Cool, nice.
Yeah, sorry for...
No, absolutely fine. It's pretty cool. It's very interesting that you can show us the gallery or something, or like leave it outside. Amazing.
Yeah, that's so fortunate. You know, we have this garden, and we can all. And that was really. I mean, so many people said that they were so noticed how privileged they are. But I really felt that in these cases now. You know, when people weren't really allowed to leave the house, and I was like. It was much easier with the kids, and also, I mean, I was able to do like business from here as well. It was like Zoom and had all the work up here in the viewing room, and had some clients even coming in when it was a bit more easy up. Now I find it a bit strange situation because it's like half open, half closed. You know, everything is so regulated, but I have the feeling it's going to be relatively quickly back to normal, and it also doesn't. I mean, we're only gonna know in a couple of weeks, but for the time being, it doesn't seem that the virus is spiking that much.
Yeah. And there was a question which was kind of, oh wow, it's amazing.
So yeah, this is the viewing room, and we installed. This is a table we built in because there's no light now, and here this is.
Wow.
Alicia Quade piece, you know, with like dealing with and the beautiful Katharina Grosse, who's going to open up a fantastic exhibition, I think next week at Hamburger Bahnhof, which I'm going to see tomorrow. And yeah, and it's interesting because it's a very conceptual building. These stones are from the destroyed buildings in the Second World War. So the whole neighborhood was bombed, and it was resurrected to like as a symbol of hope, also maybe.
Yeah. I think it's very nice that the light is coming from the.
Very nice, huh? Yeah. You see how the Anderen Reile looks.
Nice.
Also here it's really, I mean, this is only natural light now. There's no artificial light.
It's super cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, and this is so good, that we can have all these. That also actually was a very important, it helped me thrive to have this space here, because collectors, also international, because Berlin really lives off conferences. There's a convention, it's called Super Return. It's an investment convention, and it's like Art Basel for us, when that happens. And then because people know, ja, aber will er nicht erstmal seine Pizza aufessen? And that was really helpful, to have all these works up. Even there's a show here you are not so interested in, then willst du mal einen Blick aufs Bild werfen? Jetzt besonders schön mit dem Licht.
Ja, sehr gern, ja. Klar.
Ach nee, ich habe hier einen Besuch.
Achso, okay.
Ja. And that was really helpful. To have all the... Guck mal, wie schön es jetzt ist bei dem Licht. Wahnsinn, ne? So, and this is our office here.
Wow.
Also another very nice paperwork.
I love the stones, it's amazing. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And then, once I'm showing you, I want to show you quick here. So I have this garden.
Wow, nice.
It's a
so lovely. Super nice.
Really nice Engren and Darkset here. Bronze sculpture.
Wow, cool.
And then over here, hidden a small Erwin Wurm. And then here you also see the building from the exhibition spaces. And then we built this staircase. Jose Davia.
Wow. Beautiful in the flowers.
Yeah, that's my wife. My wife designed that. That was actually, I'm very thankful to her about it because I really did not want to have it because it was so crazy expensive, and I really thought, what's the point of doing that? But it paid off because it's kind of a unique selling point, because we sell a lot of outdoor work, and I always have an affiliation for outdoor work and love like public work and public sculpture, and that really helped it also to show it in a certain domestic way.
Exactly.
And
that's cool.
Yeah, a lot of collectors have gardens and
yeah. And how's it like about when I put like these certain artists outside about the let's say conservation over time?
No, these are all outdoor works. Like this is a bronze by Katharina Grosse, which was also in the Venice Biennial.
Yeah.
So it's a work of important provenance, so to speak, and it's bronze.
Completely bronze. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, this one here. I mean, this is a ceramic Claudia Comp did.
Yeah.
And this is really never going to change its patina.
Yes, wow. It's amazing. Like they have this garden with this art. It's absolutely stunning. I would love to live there.
Yeah, I mean, it's great, and also sometimes a bit.
Oh. Yes.
Oh, you hear me?
Yes, yeah. I hear you. I was a little bit stuck, the video. We have 10 more minutes. Absolutely stunning. And then super cool. And there was a very interesting artist question from the community. What do you think, like, despite of Berlin, like, which is the most artiest city in Germany after Berlin currently.
Oh, you mean just in general?
Will be huge. In general, yes.
Oh,
Where do you see a potential?
Licht
Where
ausmachen.
do you see like certainly?
Ja. Warte noch mal 5 Minuten. Okay, ich bestelle den Taxi. You mean...
Ja, 5 Minuten ist kein Problem.
Er sagt 5 Minuten ist kein Problem, Franz. You mean besides Berlin? I can't really say.
Because as well, like Düsseldorf has always been very interesting. Cologne been pretty like just because of the art fair, like which was like the start for all the art fairs worldwide. And everything suddenly moved everything to Berlin. Do you think it still lasts like this, or will it change in the future?
No, I think it still offers. 1 second. Ein Taxi bitte, die Alexandrinenstraße 118. 118. Ja. Danke. König. Johann König GmbH. Die Galerie. Danke. Danke. Danke, ciao. So, sorry.
Yeah.
I think still Berlin is the best place to be for art in Germany. Because it's the most international and the most vibrant, and it has the most freedom also.
Yeah.
With the nightlife and things like this. Here, I wanted to show you also. This is our new released, I think, 6th issue of our magazine.
Okay, great.
Which is really trying to be a real magazine. It's not only like a brochure for the gallery, and it's thanks to Gucci for our
great
advertising. Yeah.
Yeah. And where can we buy it? Is it through online or where?
Online, but it's distributed. You can buy it. I mean, there are not many train stations and airports visited now, but on all print shops.
Cool. Okay. Great. Very, very nice. Thank you. Let's take.
Und weißt du was? Das Schöne ist, dass sie träumen, lassen träumen.
Doch, mache ich. Das Taxi habe ich bestellt. Ja,
Yeah, I think we mostly covered all the art questions from the community.
Cool.
Yeah, I hope everything. You can give maybe some last advices for the small. Oof, so beautiful.
Nice, right? With the sun. My advice: take it easy and don't follow the rules. Just follow your guts.
Okay, perfect. Okay, great. No, it's absolutely stunning. Thanks so much for the chance.
Okay. Nice meeting you.
These houses like this Plattenbau is so Berlin. Out of it. It's so fun.
Yeah. It's a great. He also did Brücke Museum, and he hired Mies van der Rohe to build Nationalgalerie. Okay, I think I gotta go. Nice meeting you. I hope I see you in person. And keep on doing this. Talks
so
very
stay in touch
inspiring.
and then hope to see you soon. And thank you so much for the chance to being interviewed in here. Thanks
sure.
so much.
Is this you going to share it?
Yes. I will create a YouTube video out of it, and then I'll send you the link.
Cool, super.
Great.
Ciao.
Okay. Have a nice evening, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Bye.